Wait, me?
What? Me?
Is
What?
that how we're starting? You're with me? No,
Well, I mean, we
thought.
can. Go ahead.
Okay. Should we let this one roll?
Yep, just go for it.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Bird's Eye View. I'm Mr. Krow. I'm here with War Duck.
Hey.
And we're just talking about the confusion of things that can be happening during the pandemic. Just no. So really, we were looking through some stories today, and not even just today, but we're looking through some stories and saw that some of the case studies of what's happened with the pandemic and what it's causing health wise to everybody, even if you haven't caught the vid.
Right. So we're not talking about the vid health stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
We're talking about the results that the pandemic and the effects of the pandemic have caused, not actual vid.
Yeah, we're talking about, like, even if you've never caught it, we're going through what, 2.5 years now, something like that. Like, it's
something like that.
Like, I'm thinking back at work, like, we're starting to discuss going back to work, like in the office at least once or twice a week. And that's going to start in April. And I think the last time I was in the office, like full time before the pandemic really hit, was like March 16th of 2020 or something like that.
And I've been back in the office for a year already.
Yeah, you've been in the office almost daily. But it's changed our lifestyles. It's changed everything. And not only has it changed how we interact with each other and how we do business, because even some businesses that said you couldn't work from home found a way to work from home. And so it kind of advanced there. But it's caused a little bit of stress and health issues on people,
well,
like, all around.
And if you think about it, like, not everybody's seen Castaway, but a lot of people have seen Castaway with Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
And one of the things about people is most people need some type of a personal connection or somebody to talk to or things like that. It's amazing how, like, the reason there's different dialects across different places is because let's say you had 4 people that magically were born and at 15 years old and knew every English word, and they all pronounced it exactly the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And then you move those people, you put one on the East Coast, one on the Middle East Coast, one on the West Coast and one Midwest right there. And then they don't ever see each other again, but they interact with the local cultures and the local stuff. After years, when they get back together, they don't speak the same way. And Correct. They would likely have trouble understanding each other. Now, that's just one aspect of the physical connection, because now what we're seeing is how the detriment of the pandemic affects folks. And there's this thing, it's called broken heart syndrome. It's surging among women. And
very heavily across women.
And it has nothing to do with relationship status, so I know that's where you immediately think of when you think of broken heart syndrome. Has absolutely nothing to do with breaking up or finding a guy to hang out with, or it has nothing to do with any of that. Broken heart syndrome also affects men, but it has to do with people's response to stress. Right.
Yeah. It really comes down to the amount of how you are dealing or recuperating. Anyway, dealing. Let's go with that. Let's go with dealing. How you deal with stress.
So it says data still being gathered, but one study from the Cleveland Clinic found that rates have increased from less than 2% to almost 8% during the pandemic. So a 6% rise in this particular
area.
Right. And so what is broken heart syndrome? So a normal heart attack is caused by the arteries being plugged or congested.
Yeah.
And
limited
then
flow. Yeah.
Right. And then the heart tissue gets damaged because of that.
Yeah. More
Now,
stress. Yep.
what broken heart syndrome is it is the spasming of arteries due to stress, brought on by stress.
Brought specifically on by the some events that are happening causing stress. Yeah.
And it still can cause damage to the heart just like any other heart attack.
Hmm.
And you know, she well, the lady that talks a lot about here, Dr. Hayes, says that she's not trying to single out women, but the simple fact is scientifically that women and men have different physiological results from stress, or it affects us differently, affects people differently, but it affects men and women differently. They actually have a different physical reaction to stress than men do.
Yeah. That makes
And
sense.
it says that women make up postmenopausal women make up to 90% of stress related cardiomyopathy, which is a heart attack case.
There's a lot of stress.
um you know, and people die from it, and it does cause heart damage. And she says, so physiologically a woman's response to stress is different than a man's. She says, for example, research shows that under mental stress men and women can experience totally different changes in blood pressure and blood flow, which might account for the disproportionate rates of stress related cardiomyopathy among women. But this
Dang.
is just showing that the stress of the pandemic, you know, because this can happen, you know, like when 9/11, this caused an
Yep. This
increase.
happening again. Yeah.
Any kind of natural disaster in your area can cause an increase in this particular syndrome. Um, but it just also shows the amount of stress that people are in due to the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I know, like, some people just let things roll off their back really easy and they just come with, you know, but some people get really into their daily routine. They like that daily routine. They don't like when things happen outside of that routine. They don't like when things change like that. So now all of a sudden your daily routine is you go to the store and you buy, you know, these your items for the week, and then you go back and then you continue on your thing. Well, now all of a sudden you go to the store and there's nothing on the shelf and you can't get what you need, and now it's added stress. And that's only one little change in that routine.
Yeah.
You go to the gas station and people freaking out about gas. So there's like 500 people in line for gas, like it was the other day, because of this whole thing that's going on with Russia and Ukraine.
And I'm also, thinking of another daily thing that's kind of come up to my wife. Now that I'm pointing her out, she's just healthy and fine to my knowledge. But it now became a thing of our children going to school. I know that it's kind of another thing. One of my kids is very excited to go to school, and the other one is not, and it causes a little bit of a stress for her because she worries about the one who's not very comfortable and excited to go to school, and he's uncomfortable or whatnot, and it's another stress factor, right? That we used to not have to deal with 2 years ago.
Well,
Or
and another thing about that
three.
is, like, or my wife and I are both out working on location, not at home.
Hmm.
If all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, you know, there's close contact, or your kid's coughing, or blah blah blah, or blah blah blah, and now they have to stay home, and you're like,
Yeah.
what? You know, and now, okay, now I have to take time off, or my wife has to take time off, and you know, and
Oh,
they're
that was it. That
gonna
was a
juggle that.
huge stress when it was like, and we just recently had it. My junior high kid, they reached their max peak of COVID um, positives that they could have in the school, and so they had to do homeschool for a week. So yes, that caused another stress because now we had to try to figure out how to work around their schedule again to make sure that they could get to school to do their schoolwork. And and that's just another thing, like you were saying, Duck. It's just getting another thing out of the normal of having to stress about, having to worry about. What do you
Wasn't
need
it
to do?
last year where they were like kids were just doing school online?
Yes. Yeah.
So, that's another thing too, is like I used to hear it all the time that parents are like, I can't handle it. They're always here now,
Yeah.
and like, they're not at school, and now we got to do this whole online class. And
Yeah. We were now kind of in a
yeah,
way, the
there's a
teachers. It
million
became tough.
memes. There's a million memes about
Yeah.
parents, being home with their kids or having to help their kids with their homework, or
So true.
but this is just one added stress, and all these things are piling on and
Yeah.
causing other physical health problems, not just from the vid.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
happens to be one of them that they were very concerned about, because it you can have you can go to the doctor and check out just fine. All your blood pressure and everything's
Vitals
fine.
and yeah.
Your what are the blockages called caused by not high blood pressure, but the fat in your blood. I forgot what they call that.
Oh, yeah. Can't remember, but I know what you're talking
Right.
about. But
Well,
yeah, all your vitals come back.
yeah.
Okay.
So everything comes back okay, and then all of a sudden you have all this stress related stuff start piling on, or like Mr. Crow, like changes in your job, and all of a sudden, you're working till 4 a.m. instead of your normal
Yeah.
hours, and
Instead of
things.
normal.
Like these things can pile on and induce stress related problems in your system that you have literally no control over, right? This is a body's response to an amount of stress that you have.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with how you eat or anything like that. It's just how you manage your stress. Like that, I guess that's what's important. Like I recently started jujitsu. It's
Hmm.
about the only physical activity that I'm really doing, because I go at work and sit around at work, and then I come home and relax because I've been at work all day, and then I get on the computer and I hang out on the computer, sit in a chair. Um, and so for me, it was something to get me a little more active. I didn't realize how bad it was going to hurt, but like you have to find a way to dissipate your stress, and physical activity is great if you're not doing any of that, but it's got to be something. Whether you
Yeah.
de-stress by sitting in a dark room and listening to music, or you play video games, or you watch YouTube, or something to make you laugh, or something to make you de-stress. You have to have something.
I think that's actually one of the big things that you and I both try to do, Duck, is in our streams, we try to let people come in and forget about the problems that they've had for the day,
Yeah.
like come talk to us and just relax for a minute, that's what both of us try to do in our streams. So that's what helps you relax. Go watch a streamer
Yeah, just do something to get that
for
stress
you.
off, and don't let it pile up, because apparently I'd never heard of this before, but apparently it makes your arteries spasm and causes heart damage,
Heart attack.
and can cause
Yeah.
death. But once you get that heart damage, things go downhill super fast.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, really, it comes out there to like be out there for each other. Help those in that you see and that may need some need. Give them a shoulder to lean on if you can, and try to help out what you can.
so I'll put
It's
this
stressful out there.
we'll put this link down in the description, so you can read the whole article. And but yeah, definitely stay healthy out there, and let us know what you
Be
think about
careful.
this. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe to the channels. Helps us get seen, helps us build.
Yeah, for sure. And be safe out there, always. Thanks, everyone.
All right, much love all.
We'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.